So, next question. What other metrics do you use to gauge success?
Can you go into more depth of what you mean on that?
So, everybody's definition of success could be different. For some, it's monetary. For some, it's educational. For some, it's being able to just reflect back on what you've done and say, "Hey, I accomplished this goal." So everybody's level of success is kind of different. So how do you gauge success?
So from my personal stance,
Mhm.
right? That's a very that's a very question that you really have to think about, and I think a lot of people should think about throughout the course every year, some point in their life, because I think for me, my thought on success changes. I don't want to say frequently, but depending on where I am in my life, success and my thought process on it changes. So, like when I got out of college, to me, being successful meant I was going to go play professional basketball, and I made it. That was it. That's all my mindset was. Granted, I got to do those things. I got to play overseas, and I got to play professional basketball. And then you get to that point where it's like, okay, you want more. So now what is going to make me more happy? I mean, it wasn't the money at that point. It wasn't, traveling was great. Don't get me wrong. So now I'm starting to work here at CP3 Basketball Academy. And now I have to redefine what success means again. Because now I'm no longer in the same role I was at as a player. In a completely different space. So I still have that mindset of a player. I'm competitive. I want to be on the court. But now I had to just immediately take on the role, kind of like she said, as a teacher. And being able, at that point, success to me meant being able to provide these kids with the knowledge that I had. And to see these kids being able to adapt and apply these things in a game-like situation, being able to see them grow from 6 months to a year as a person and as an athlete. Like, to me, success started to come into a factor then, in that way. Then, again, changing roles again. Now in marketing. Again, I went to school for that, but I've been strictly eat, breathe, sleep basketball since I was 8. So now I'm stepping into a role that I know it, but now my confidence has to get up in it. And so at that point, I had to try to redefine success on a marketing standpoint. How can I help this company grow? And so I think in that point, I've allowed myself to kind of keep an open mindset, be more creative, things that I never even thought I had inside of me. Because again, I thought the only thing I was a basketball player, and that was it. So I thought that was my identity. So being able to kind of successfully see that there is more to me than a basketball player, more to me than an athlete, I think has really helped define. Obviously, money has a lot to do with things in life as well. Unfortunately, things are not free. But aside of money, I think that those things I just said are very important in success.
I agree. I personally think that success is evolution. Every day you're evolving to become greater. So anytime people are looking at the aspect of success, it's not one like flat line. It's just something that you're working towards over time.
Yeah,
Right?
most definitely. So yeah, I'd piggyback off of that. Definitely changes throughout time, and I think that's key to realize. A lot of people fail to realize that, and like I've had a lot of friends. So I didn't play collegiate basketball, but when you're around them, I'm sure Jazz wasn't this way, but they all have that one mindset where, like she said, basketball is all I do, eat, sleep, breathe, and then NBA is next. But what if NBA is not next? You never know when you're gonna get injured. Not that we want it to happen, but you have to be prepared. So just making sure that you're multifaceted and that you have more than one goal. So I know for success for me back in May was getting a job in my field straight out of college. I mean, that's huge. That's what everyone dreams, right? And then getting in it, obviously, money was great. So commission, okay, yeah, that's what I'm going to be working for. But the underlying is always, how you impact the kids, like Jazz said, seeing them grow, not just physically but mentally. It's huge. And it's crazy. It's like a month they can change into a whole different human. It's like, where did you come from? But yeah, so definitely just wanting to, I guess my big thing with success is that growth mindset and wanting to grow myself, not only professionally, but in all aspects of life. And then making sure that I'm just taking the necessary steps to make sure that I can get at that end goal that I'm, wanting to be at once I'm, hopefully 40 and retired on my own island. Yeah, big goals.
Oh man, thinking about age again.
Bring up age.
No, I agree with my panelists. I think success, the definition of success, does change over time, and focusing on growth is absolutely important. It's a tough question. I think I'm going to put this in the context of thinking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, because I think, like, for me, that's really big, and I think in youth sports right now, and certainly for my organization, to the degree that we can activate our diversity, meaning can we leverage our differences toward a collective goal, I think is important. To the degree that we can establish equitable opportunity for people, I think is absolutely important. To the degree that we can lead inclusively, meaning can you consistently and intentionally create a participative environment, right? I think those things are important. But can we talk about all these things to a degree deeper than just awareness? Like, we can leave the PSA about diversity awareness in the 90s. That conversation is done. It doesn't exist anymore. We are at a point, I think, in our society, certainly in the triad, where we can have a conversation that goes deeper to talking about resources and money, right? Because that's where, like, things get real, right? Like, who's going to put in the time? Who's going to put in the money, the resources, the people to take diversity awareness into actual initiatives that celebrate and leverage diversity, that allow us to be more participative, that allow us to create structures that allow for an equitable platform for everyone to have an opportunity? That's a big success metric, but until we're talking about that, that's what I continually strive for. So, success.
That was good.
Yes, that was good. I know, his answers are just fire. So just to kind of wrap up that question, I do have some kind of insight on, as far as like instant gratification and delayed gratification. I feel like that plays an important part in what people define as success. And depending on your mindset, you'll choose which one you think is more adequate. But with the social media age, with people, coming into their fields, some people think success is instant. And just like we talked about, everything is, evolving over time. It doesn't necessarily have to happen right away. And just as Jazmine said, sometimes you're, working as a coach, as a teacher, and then 6 months down the road, you're like, wow, this person has definitely transformed. So keeping that same, mindset with your actual, personal goals is, something that you're working towards each day should get, better over time, and not necessarily looking for that instant, success or gratification to, suit you. All right, so last and final question. Y'all ready?
I don't know. That last one was kind of hard.
Okay, what other ways does the program make the community feel inclusive?
I think we kind of touched on it a little earlier.
A little bit, yeah.
Like I said, our slogan is family. So the minute you walk through the door, we are all on you, like family, love, caring, be with us. That's just what we're about. Not overwhelmingly, though. Not overwhelmingly, but
Fist bumping instead of hugs.
Fist bumps are important.
But no, I really think that we have done, I would definitely say in the last 4 to 5 months, like when you hear our name out in the community, I feel like a lot of people, even just word of mouth, a lot of people have really come back to us saying that it's, you really need to go there. Like, my kid loves it there. They're great developers there, great people there. Just the overall atmosphere and environment, you want to be a part of it. And again, when people walk through the door, it's like, again, it doesn't matter the skill level. It doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter what your hair looks like that day. It doesn't matter what income your parents have. It really does not matter. It doesn't even matter what gender you are. Like, we literally welcome all. And I mean, because every single one of us up here, completely different people. We may look the same, we may act the same, but our backgrounds are completely different. And we all come from different different backgrounds, just different walks of life. And to be able to come to a space where you can feel welcomed and feel like, hey, I can be free and be me and do something that I love, I wouldn't know another place that I would want to be, especially as a kid. Kids, sometimes life as a kid can be rough depending on your situation. There's a lot of things that you can and cannot control. And so being able just to go someplace where, again, we actually had a couple weeks ago, a parent sent us an email and said, I really appreciate you all. My son we went to church today, and it was his first day wearing glasses today in church. A couple of the kids were picking on him today. So we told him we'd bring him to the gym. And the minute he got to the gym, he just felt loved. He felt like at home. He felt like this is a place he could be free, and she just wanted to thank us just for that. So just little things like that, something that we don't even think about on a day-to-day basis just because of what we do. I think that's what CP3 Basketball Academy is about.
Good response. That was awesome.
Yes, she stole mine. No, I was gonna use that example. But yeah, definitely just making everyone feel like they are a part of the family. Like Jazz said, we're all different, and that's what makes us unique, which isn't a bad thing. Unique is great. So just trying to find everyone's place in the academy. So you have your jokesters, and then you have your your serious kids. So who you can joke with, and who you can who you need to plant seeds with, and different things like that. So just it's all about just trying to bring everyone together to stay active, live a healthy lifestyle, and just be kind to one another. That's really all it's about. And it's just great that we're able to do it, because I know we all love sports. So the fact that we're able to do it through sport is just even better. What else could you ask for?
So topic of inclusion, when I think about inclusion, I immediately, the first thing I think about are athletes. Every athlete's needs are going to be different. And like everyone has said, backgrounds are different. Just in that alone, it's a very diverse audience. So when I think about how we can support athletes better, I start thinking about how do we give our coaches the tools to support that community better, right? One element of that is innovation and being creative. What are some new ways that we can reach players? What are some new ways where we can allow coaches to have a safe space to talk about challenges in a way that isn't competitive, right? If I'm a coach, am I okay to share my challenge with you, another coach, and not be fearful that you might be gunning for my job one day, right? So I think having that safe space for coaches allows them to lead in an inclusive way. I think emphasizing things like emotional intelligence is also important. Can you express your emotions, understand your emotions in a positive way, and can you manage those emotions as well as the emotions of your athletes, right? I think that's important. To the degree that we can be vulnerable with athletes, I think is also crucial. Coaches aren't robots.
Right.
Coaches are people too. So to the degree that we can support coaches and get them to a place where they feel comfortable sharing their values, sharing where they're coming from a personal standpoint, I think it humanizes sports. And I think that leads to a more inclusive environment. So.
That is very true. Very true. He gets snaps on all his responses. No, that is definitely true. As a coach myself, I do feel some kind of pressure coming from, parents, the school, with their responses as far as like me being young, my background in the sport. Everybody has these questions, and they don't necessarily ask the questions, but you can kind of feel the atmosphere sometimes when you're in certain roles or certain positions, and it's just like they're looking at you like, well, how'd you get here? So I do kind of feel like having that open communication, being able to express your feelings and communicate your feelings across the board will definitely help connect not only the coaches to the parents, but also the coaches to the players, because a lot of times, like you said, coaches are not robots. Okay, we have feelings too, and sometimes we have to, hide our feelings because it's just like they see us as this, individual who's supposed to be strong, who's supposed to be leading, and that's not always the case. Okay, I can tell y'all now, I had a parent-player meeting yesterday.
That's what you're gonna say.
Yesterday, okay? So the parents are definitely, looking at you like, well, what validates you being here? And honestly, I said the same words. I said, this season we're focusing on support and inclusion. Every player is not going to bring what your kid has to the table. So being able to understand that as a coach, differences are real, okay? So, and I don't feel like differences make your team any weaker, but it's up to the coach to kind of find out what those differences are to bring the team together. So that is definitely a challenge. I can speak that from experience.